Hello, all, and welcome back to the weekly roundup of the Spring Championships. Now, this week we have the round of 32, and we've had some cracker games. It's been some brilliant viewership as well, so thanks everyone for supporting the tournament. Without further ado, we will head into Chef Suit East versus Carbone. So, looking at this one face value, you wouldn't give Carbone a chance. We have 2260 Elo versus 1950, so hats off to Carbone here. What an upset. However, it didn't go without his hiccups. He had his first two games ending in a loss, and to be honest, if from the outside looking in, you'd think he was going to get washed here 4-0. Now, a highlight of game three of every series saw players take advantage of civilizations that can capitalize with no trading posts, being on Painted Desert. And funnily enough, we had a Dutch Brit matchup here. We saw Carbone win the next four games in a row to take the series, and he surprised himself and watchers alike. Have a listen to what he had to say. Carbone, how you going, mate? Congratulations on your win.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going well. I'm quite happy with that. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, for sure. Look, we're catching you a couple days after the interview. I know it was a bit late on the time of the stream, but look, I thought I'd just come in a couple days later and just sort of see how you felt. So I'll jump straight in. How did you feel playing Chef Suit East? Did anything he do surprise you?
Yeah, basically, I went into the match thinking I was about to get 4-0. I didn't expect much at all because he's a way better player than me for sure. And that's my second tourney. And the first match of the tourney of this tourney I played was against Thin, and it wasn't good really. I almost lost. It was 4-3. It was a pretty close game, but uh, yeah. So I had really no expectations going against Chef, and I lost the first two games, and I don't know. For some reason, I ended up coming out on top. I don't even know how. Because
Yeah.
yeah, I kept getting out microed because I think Chef has really good mechanics. Most people say that he's a port bot, but I think that's just not true. His mechanics just apply to every civ.
Yeah,
Um,
for sure.
but yeah,
Look, you went down. Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, you went down 2-0. How did you feel at that point in time when you were 2-0 down
uh,
going into the third game?
I'm getting easily tilted. Like I'm getting tilted really fast, and sometimes for no reason. Like sometimes my explorer just gets nared, and I'm getting tilted for the next 5 games. But
Yeah,
uh,
yeah, yeah.
in this case, since I had no expectations, it really didn't bother me much, especially because the games I lost was against his sports, so against his main sev. And the second game, I was playing auto, and I have really almost no experience with the Steve. Like I don't think any of the casters noticed it, but I forgot to click on the Viltech button for really long. Yeah, that was that was a bit cringe.
Yeah,
But yeah,
not even Bogo can
uh,
carry you at that level.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
look, what do you reckon you'll change going forward? Look, it was obviously a great win, but is there anything you'd sort of think about changing, doing a bit differently, and anything you thought you could do better? I mean, obviously not tilting is one of them, but anything
mm,
else?
I don't know. Like the third game was my Brits against his Dutch, and since Brits is my main sev, I happened to win in under 9 minutes. So that was a good confidence boost for the rest of the series. And yeah, I don't know. Actually, I think Chef lacks not game knowledge, but like matchup knowledge. Because like
Hmm.
if you saw the last game where I was playing Japan and he played Spain, so this matchup is heavily Spain favored, but he went for an FF and he edged up with a covered wagon for some reason, but still he shipped two Falks and pushed with Musketeers, so this was a really underwhelming push, and yeah, I could just hold it easily with a nice surround. And yeah, Spain just cannot outscale Japan. So yeah, I think that was yeah, just matchup knowledge
Yeah, of
issue.
course. Of course. Now your next opponent is Keto Boy. How do you
Yeah.
how do you feel about that one? And like, how are you going to prepare for that one? Even like, what do you do?
Uh, I mean, Ketterboy is a good friend of mine. We've been playing even since Legacy. We've been playing a lot together, but yeah, I know I stand no chance. Like, I even against Chef, I thought I was about to get 4-0, so you can imagine
Yeah,
what it's
yeah,
like
yeah,
to go against Ketterboy.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be the end of the tourney for me, but I think it was a good run, so I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, look, 100%, man. But look, you may as well just go for the upset. I'm sure you'll get your practice in. And look, you've surprised a lot of people, and you've played really
Yeah,
well
myself
as well.
included.
Yeah, exactly right. So why not go for one more upset? And we'll just move on to the last one here. Is there anyone else in the tournament that you've watched so far that's impressed you? Anyone you might think could be a dark horse to go far or win it?
Mm, I mean, I've watched most of the games, but yeah, I think Soldier, I didn't expect him to go to beat
Yeah,
Minimals,
yeah.
basically.
What a
I
game.
don't know who is facing now.
I think
Uh,
Soldier is facing Ezad, so that's a tough one for him as well.
yeah, that's a tough one, but yeah, I think that's less tough than going against Caterboy, maybe. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think he drew the short straw there for sure, for sure.
Yeah. So yeah, maybe he can do something. Who knows? We'll
Yeah, look,
see.
only time will tell, right? But look, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you popping in a couple days after and having a chat with me.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Not a problem. All right, mate. I'll wish you luck in the next round, and yeah, I'll see you around.
Thank you, see you.
Righto, now for Shake versus Brigadier. This one was a pretty close matchup if you sort of look at the ladder and take that into account. Shake actually did open up this one with a loss to a Spanish mirror. Look, this led to a couple doubts, but look, he went on to win his next four games, and he really did put Brigadier, on show, taking the series 4-1. Now, the good thing about this one was there wasn't really a huge distinguishable ELO gap in this one, and look, to me, that proves that Shake could have what it takes to actually go quite far in this tournament, and I was really impressed with his gameplay here. Shake playing his Sweden, Ethiopia, USA, and Brit in that four-peat after the opening loss, and here's what he had to say. All right, Shake, how you going, mate?
Hey man, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, not a problem, man. Look, great win, great series. Look, that was a pretty convincing win there, but yeah, how did you feel playing Brigadier?
Well, first of all, I need to say thanks to Brigadier. This was a really fun series. I enjoyed it a lot. He's a very solid opponent. He didn't manage to get the win, on the day. Feel like I was the better player, but yeah, he's definitely someone to look out for in future tournaments. So, big respects to him.
Yeah, for sure. Now, something I just want to touch on about. Obviously, you didn't clean sweep this one, so there's got to be a little bit of room for improvement. Is there anything you're sort of thinking about changing, or um, anything you'd like to do differently going forward?
Well, for me, stress was a big factor at the beginning because I'm kind of the favorite for this series. But you know what? Next series, I'm gonna be playing against Hazard, from what I'm understanding. So
Yeah,
there's no stress in there whatsoever. So I'm
yeah,
I'm not really I'm not really thinking about it all too much. I just want to put up a performance, show that I'm worthy of being seeded. I made it to the main bracket. That was my goal. It's the first time I've made it to a main bracket in a major tournament, so
that's
I'm
huge.
really happy about that.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
for sure. Look, congratulations, and I'm sure it'll feel a bit different going into a game when you know you've got nothing to lose, as opposed to sort of everyone expecting you to win. Um,
Exactly.
so, just sort of moving on to the next one, how do you feel about Hazard? I understand you two are friends and sort of play together a bit. But
Yeah, we hang out together in Discord quite often. Haza's a good friend of mine. Yeah, Haza. He's one of the best players to play this game of all time. So it's obviously for me. First of all, it's a massive honor to play him in a tournament. When it isn't in a lower round, when it's actually in a round where it matters, and not one
yeah,
of the warm up rounds.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited, and I think it's going to be a good series. I think people are going to be surprised by the outcome of this. I'm not saying I'm going to win, definitely not, but I'm going to take more games than people expect.
Yeah, look, I'll be rooting for you for sure. And look, last question. Is there anyone in the tournament that's impressed you so far? Obviously, you had a round to sort of sit out and do some spectating and a bit of casting yourself. But yeah, was there anyone that really impressed you so far?
Oh, definitely Taco with his victory against Aliak. People don't realize how big that is, how big the elo gap is between
Yeah,
these two players as well. Aliak's a legitimate 2.1k elo player with most civs. So for someone like Taco that is like 1900 to come out there with a victory is so huge for him and actually for the Brazilian community in general. So I'm really happy for him and for them.
yeah, for sure. Look, he does have the weight of Brazil on his shoulders. So look, good on him. It was a great win. And look, thank you so much for your time, Shake. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure, man. Thanks for having me on.
Not a problem. Good luck in the next round.
Thanks, man. See you later.
See ya. This takes us into our next game, Only Baus versus Loans. Now, this one was a mismatch, sorry to say the least, and it was evident here that the skill gap was wide. Only Baus, he really did cruise on this one. He even had the hide to do a CDB slash Pike Rush in the US game, where Loans played US, Only Baus played France. It did come to no available, and he did lose the opportunity of a clean sweep, but hats off to him for trying something new. It was a great watch, and it did have the audience guessing, even for a moment, that it could work. Here's what he had to say after the game.
Hello there.
Hello.
Hey, Baus, congratulations on your series win, man. Very well played.
Thank you so much, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen in the chat, if you got anything you want to ask our Victor, please drop it now. But I gotta ask first. What was your thought process in that villager rush? I really want to know what the motivation was behind that.
Little trolly, but it's a good strat. I think it can work. Probably not versus USA, just because they have a bunch of like buildings with trickles and high HP TPs and whatnot. But I think it kind of can work versus some different civs. So it's a slept on strat.
Did you consider getting the House of Fana for the Greek Revolution, which like further boosts your CDBs, I think, in combat?
Not
Might
at
be an
all.
option in the
Don't
future.
play the game enough to know the nats and stuff. You know what I mean?
I see.
But yeah. That was a fun game. That was definitely the most fun game.
Yes. It was pretty fun to cast. I mean, I was getting a little bit I was like tired, I think, during that time, and it was a pretty good refresher to see something different.
Yeah. No, but Loans played well in that last game as well, the Sweden China.
Yeah.
Yeah. And even with a bad start too, catching the 4 torps, like making him place in weird spots, he played pretty well considering.
Yeah. I'm curious with that game 1 because I feel like that really set the tone for the entire series. That Comanche arrow pop, was that completely planned? Did you know he was going to go Raider pressure, or did that just work out really well in terms of timing? Because I mean, that really just stopped his pressure dead in its tracks and gave you the game almost instantly once you caught those Raiders.
Yeah, I think I was kind of planning to straight FF, and then I saw the Raiders like chasing my 2 Ulans. Then I sent the house card and just popped 5, and it kind of just worked out where I snared him with the Ulan, caught him with the Comanchero. It's kind of like the perfect counter. I think maybe he didn't know that like I was going Mercs as well as on Great Plains. It's always Comanchero. Yeah. So I think it just worked out pretty luckily. Plus Mercs just insanely OP. So I think regardless of that, I think it would have been a good one.
Yeah. Well played.
Yeah.
Do you
No,
have
but it
any
was a fun
thoughts?
series.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a blast to cast as well. But do you have any thoughts on your next matchup in the round of 16? Do you know who you're playing actually? Because
Frontline, he's a sweaty boy.
yes.
That'll be a good one. We'll sweat it out versus each other. I guess it could be a battle for NA number one theoretically, and I'm looking forward to it. It'll be some good games. Definitely very sweaty.
Yes, yes.
Can we
I'm
get
ready to have
that?
my Explorer snared back to the TC every game.
Can we get that in writing? And we'll just whenever we have you in a bracket, we'll just put that little quote under it.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't have any more questions. I mean, just a really straightforward series, a bit of a trolley build there in game 4. Otherwise, I mean, you did really seem to be in the driver's seat. But I got to give it out to Loans as well for being, what was it, at a 500 elo deficit. I mean, he did give us a good couple of games there.
Definitely, but definitely a big elo gap. But considering he actually played pretty well for his level, yeah. But fun series. Thanks so much for casting. I had a good time.
Absolutely, Baron. You got anything, man?
No, that's it. Well, thank you so much for the games, and I look forward to seeing you playing next week in the round of 16. And best of
Indeed.
luck in the
I
rest
hope
of
next
the
tourney
tournament.
there's some Baja involved. You know.
Well, you were the ones who voted against it, so you should talk to your fellow players and tell
I
them
know.
that we want to see some Baja.
Vote to free Baja.
Free Baja.
Free
Hashtag
Baja.
Yes.
I mean, we're getting
Yeah.
there, right? Like we're now allowing DE civs, which I think a lot of people were looking forward to, and now we just have to start allowing all builds at this point.
Yeah, I think there's some more lame stuff in the game than Baja. Some like Chinese immigrants USA feels strong. So I think free Baja on the chat.
We'll also put that in writing. That'll be your second quote. Free Baja. We'll start a
Beautiful
movement on the
quotes.
forums. Well, Baus, thank you so much for playing. We look to see you next time in the round of 16, and good luck.
Indeed. Have a good one, y'all.
Yeah, see ya.
This one is Soldier versus Minimalt. A close game if you look at Elo, and what a series it was. A lot of people wrote Soldier off early, and look, he did himself no favours there. He went down 2-0. He went down quite early and quite easily, losing out with either poor micro or poor unit composition. A pretty unfortunate moment where Soldier lost to a pond in the middle of the Great Plains with his skirmishes. Moving on, Soldier went to claim the next 3 games. He took 2 mirror victories off Minimalt, and he closed that series out 4-3 in the deciding game. With both players taking advantage of Dutch in Game 3 on Painted Desert, as I did mention before, having an OTPs there to take advantage of. Soldier lost Game 6 with the China player allying with the Germans, which is sometimes can be seen as a weird pick. He picked off some Musketeers completely free, got some Husk completely free, and his micro around this cost him his early momentum, which could have seen him take that series out a lot earlier. However, the game was forced into the decider, with Soldier taking the series 4-3, and here's what he had to say.
Soldier, what's up?
Hello? Can you guys hear me?
Congratulations.
Big Soldier.
Thank you guys. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Can you hear
Yeah,
us?
we
Okay,
can.
I don't know why my mic is always messing up, but yeah, man, that was
Wow. Yeah,
that was
great.
intense.
That was great.
We
I
can
was
tell.
I was so disappointed in that British game. That was a little bit
sad.
embarrassing. And then I was kicking myself for not using French there and using Brit, and if I saved Brit, I'm sure it would have been a Brit mirror. I was really surprised you didn't go Brit in this last game.
Yeah, I think we were predicting he was going to go Brit as well. Yeah, I
Maybe
mean,
a
every
bad
game
thing,
was
right?
extremely...
But yeah,
Man.
even though you lost that Brit game, you bounced back once again, like being down 2-0 and then winning the mirrors. Yeah, losing that Brit China and winning that game the way you did, like really well played, man.
Yeah, that Ottoman game was that was insane too. You know, I thought for sure I was gonna lose that one. But my Spahi, I saved a few of them and got so many raids with them.
Yeah,
And
we called
then
those.
at the end, those calls, I was like, man, because I was trying to get 3 TC, but he killed that third one. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I need to get, I got the factory advantage. Maybe I need calls, and worked out. And dude, the lag was insane there. was microing culverins through like 5-second freeze lag. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah, it looked like you were pausing it. And we were actually joking that during that game there was this one pause right before the bombards got a crazy volley on the AZAPs.
Oh
And
yeah,
we
I
were
saw that one. It was
saying,
the lock on.
we
I
were
saw the
saying,
lock on before I paused though, so I was like, okay, make sure don't reassign them like when I
yeah,
unpause.
we were
Yeah, I
saying
know.
you
I
were
saw it.
pausing for the screenshot, like you were like
Yeah, right.
pulling up
Like you keep
OBS,
farming, you know.
yeah, clip farming. But yeah. So what did you think about
Yeah.
the first two games? I think you had a kind of pretty convincing advantage going into I mean in both of the first two games, but somehow he was able to kind of like claw it back, especially that
Yeah, I
Germany
just
game.
had like two really, really bad fights, like one in each of those
Mhm.
games. The one where my
Yeah.
scrims were stuck behind the pond in the game in the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
game. I totally threw that. Like the age two, I don't know if we were both nervous because he was doing some weird stuff, and then I was like adapt. I wasn't feeling good going into the series today. I've been losing a bit on ladder the last day and a half, and like just not feeling smooth. So those two losses hurt really bad. Like the Aztec, I mean, he just had some really good fights, really good positioning in those first two.
Yeah, that pond really screwed with your skirmishers. I think they were trying to walk around and your Ulans got kind of cleaned
Yeah,
up there. Yeah, and then the second one, I mean, there was just like an 8 Falc timing at some point, which is just
yeah,
everybody was spamming GUA in the chat. It was pretty funny.
yeah.
But
I should
I
have
remember the
went to
fights
Arrow
on
Knights
both
earlier. I
sides.
think.
Yeah,
all right,
probably.
people
Yeah.
asking in the chat, why not Ethiopia on the cow map? Do
Oh
you have an
my
answer for that?
god. No, no Ethiopia. No, thank you.
No, thank you. You heard it here
Yeah, but
first.
not playing French because French is, I think, one of my better civs. I was towards the end of it. I was like, man, what? How did I get to this point not using French?
Well, still managed to pull it off. So we'll be seeing you next next round in the round of 16. Congratulations for moving on. I think you're facing Ezad, unless I'm wrong, but that'll be definitely an exciting series as well.
Okay, yeah.
So good luck on
At
that.
this point, it's really gonna be tough. Like, no matter who you're playing, it's gonna be really tough. So,
Yeah.
I'm glad I got through to this point. That was gonna be like my main goal for this, and then I don't know if I'm feeling good on a few days in a row. Maybe I can pull off another upset.
Yeah, cool. Congratulations again. Looking forward to your gameplay next week, and well, I'll see you around. We're
All right.
probably
Yeah,
gonna move
best
on
of
to our
luck, Soldier.
next series now.
Moving into our next mismatch, we've got Loppy versus King of Osmane or Kingu. Loppy sitting at about 1850. We got Kingu, who's sort of a top 10 player. And look, Loppy did try his best here. He did put his best civs forward. He was active on the map, and he did try hard in all of his games. There was a moment in the last game with the all-in rush where it looked a bit worried. Looked a bit worried for Kingu, but look, the quality shone through that one. Now, Loppy did win the hearts of the ESOC faithful with his win last round over Look Tom, but I think overall he will be disappointed with this result and will feel that he could have done better. And here's the interview with myself and Kingu coming right up. Hello, we have Kingu here. Kingu, how you going?
Thanks, man, for having me.
Yeah, not a problem. Look, I know you're on your lunch break, but I'm so glad I caught you, and thanks for checking in and making sure we got this interview done. I'll jump straight into the questions. I won't take too much of your time. Look, the first one I got down here was, how did it feel playing Loppy? Obviously an underdog, and the games were over really quickly. Did anything catch you off guard? I mean, it did look like you were cruising. Were you practicing anything in particular for next round?
I wasn't practicing anything for Loppy, nothing like special. I just had the picks down from the start, so I knew exactly what civ to play on each map. But yeah, no like deep preparation this time.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. We'll go into this next one here. Okay, look, what would you change going forward? Was there anything you sort of caught you a bit unaware, or was there anything you thought that you might have done better?
Yeah, last game he caught me off guard basically because I thought he's gonna like TP boom really hard, and I don't know why, but I didn't notice he didn't took a single TP and he was all in rushing me, and I thought I have like a lot more time because usually he has to ship wood first if he
Yeah.
tries to TP boom. So that's like half a minute more for me to like get my stuff going, but he just all in rushed me, and that almost cost me the game.
Yeah, it was definitely looked pretty scary there for you at one point. But into your next opponent, Kinesi. How are you feeling about that one? Is there anything you're sort of going to prepare for in advance? Anything to look out for?
Yeah, I think this matchup's gonna be super different, like even playstyle wise, because Loppy likes to play native Sys and all that. And Kinesi probably only gonna play Aztec and a lot of water stuff and Inca and Japan. So yeah, I'm gonna be very good prepared because I know what's coming. But yeah, you never know, because like in the past, we all always knew like what Sys Kinesi gonna play, but he
Yeah,
still
yeah.
like ended up winning a lot of stuff. So yeah, it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah, look, he's definitely a big name, but no bigger than King of Osmane. Look, I'll be rooting for you next round. Just a quick little fun one. Is there a player you think, a player to watch in the tournament? Anyone that's done any upsets, or anyone you're sort of quietly hoping they do well?
I'm gonna hope that Shake beats Hasser, but that's all.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I had a chat with Shake a bit earlier. I hope he does too.
Yeah, I hope so. But otherwise, I think Opti is very scary as well, and yeah, I
Yeah,
think Optimus is always
yeah, of course. No, look, I won't take any more of your time. Thank you for catching up with me on your lunch break. Much appreciated. You have a good day,
no
mate.
problem. Thanks.
Cheers. Rightio, now for the next one we have Tabin versus Joab, or Taco as he refers to in game. Taco took out Aliug last week, so we thought we might have been in for an upset. Bit of a dark horse on this one. And we went into game one where Tabin picked Boto and Joab picked France. Now, Tabin played this pretty well. He idled the France TC for probably around a minute and a half, which stalled him for enough to sort of boom behind it and allow him to do Boto things and take the game away from him. Game two, now Joab did his best here. He took good trades and he kept taking fights. Eventually, he got onto the water, making some good land plays here to close in on Tabin and take a game off him, which for a man who is 320-ish elo, his inferior, well done Taco. Now Tabin won the next three pretty expectedly, and he did show off the elo gap, but look, hats off to Taco. He took a game from Tabin and he did keep it close early. He stayed active on the map the whole time and he didn't play scared, so maybe he's one to watch for the future. Righto, now on to our second last game. We have the big Kevin versus Lionheart. And this one was closer maybe than it deserved to be, but look, Lionheart played out of his skin. About a 200 elo gap between them. So Kevin lost game one to Lionheart Spain. Lionheart going in for a semi-FF, put the pressure on early with the hussars and muskets and kept Kevin in age 2, and he saw that game out. So game two, Lionheart tried to lame Kevin playing Ethiopia as Boto, but just couldn't get the job done there and lost that game. Game 3 and 4 actually went to Lionheart, so went out to the 3-1 lead. And we were staring down the barrel of an upset, but Kevin wasn't going to be embarrassed today. He won the following 3 games to take the series out. One as Howd, France, and Dutch. And both this game and last game declined interviews, and I just couldn't quite catch him. On to the next one. Alright, boys and girls, last one of the round of 32, we have Robrot versus Grogu. Yeah, it's been about 30 minutes. I'm starting to get my tongue twisted. So this one went right to the wire, with Grogu taking the series 4-3 to cause an upset and move on to the next round. Now, this one was a close one. Game 6, it looked like Robrot could have taken the series here in the Hausa vs Mexico matchup. However, he did miss his timing and allowed Grogu's Hausa to get a boom off almost for free here, and allowed Grogu to bring it to the tiebreaker and pull off the upset ultimately. In the last game, we saw a Russian FF from Ro32, which did catch Grogu unawares. I don't think he was expecting that. He did apply pressure on Germany here, however, he overcommitted in the final fight of the series and he went down to an Ulan pop from the town centre. Now, whispers on Discord was that the match was at an unfavourable time for Ro32, but look, I think ultimately he'll be disappointed with this one and really would have wanted to move into the final 16. A mainstay in tournaments past and always a player to capitalise on an opponent's mistake. So a bit of an unlucky here for Ro32, but a big congratulations from Grogu, who's been raising some eyebrows this tournament. Now, Grogu couldn't actually give me a interview over microphone, but he did answer some questions for me in a written down form. So I might just bring that up for us here. Here we are. So question 1, how you felt playing the opponent? Did anything they do surprise you? I felt somewhat insecure because I was inactive for 8 months. I was surprised by the native strategy with France in the second match, and in the match against USA, I always forget how many cards they have up their sleeves. Very true. So I asked, what might you change going forward, and was there anything you felt like you could do better? He responded, I don't think I would change anything. I think I should improve more in my exploration alongside working on trusting my intuition with what my opponents will do. What I'm trying to say is I need to try and read my opponent's movements a little better. And the last question, how do you feel about your next opponent? Anything in particular you're going to prepare for in advance? My next opponent will be Optimus. He's a great player and I hope I can dominate him. I don't know if it's appropriate to say what I will do, fair enough. That is always something that is never said. I like to play with the surprise factor. Thank you very much for writing that up for me, Grogu. And that sums up the review. Righto, now with the review summed up, all done and dusted, let's move on to some predictions we got for this week coming. We've got Hazza versus Shake. I've been really impressed with how Shake's played, and honestly, I don't want to bet against him, so I'm actually going to back my boy Shake here. Good luck in the next round, mate. Frontline versus Only Bouse. Look, I haven't actually seen Frontline play too much recently, but look, I'm going to go for the blind pick here. He's a top player, so is Only Bouse, but look, either way, we should be in for a cracking game. The next game I've got is Keeta Boy taking the win over Carbone. Look, I just think it's going to be a little bit too much quality for him there. Same thing as Tabin and Ungers. Look, I think Ungers is just going to be able to edge this one out here. Ezad and Soldier. Look, I think Elo-wise, Ezad's got him, but I just can't bet against my boy Soldier. I think he's going to take this one from him and move on to the quarterfinals. Kinesi versus King of Osmane. I think that King of Osmane's going to take that one. Optimus Grogu. Look, Optimus is a top player, and I just don't know if Grogu's got one more upset in him. Phoenix and Kevin. Look, unfortunately for Kevin, I'm going to have to say Phoenix here. The bloke second on the ladder for a reason. Yeah, look, I just don't think he's going to be able to pull that one off. So, rightio, with everything being done and dusted, that brings the video to a close. Thank you everyone for staying and watching this long, and look, these videos do take a lot of production time, and I try really hard to keep things exciting, neutral, so a like and subscription does keep me motivated to keep bringing you these esports wrap-ups for Age of Empires 3. I want to say thank you to ESOC and everyone involved who helps keep these tournaments ticking. If you haven't already, go show them some support too. I'll put their channel in the description. Now stick around for a little bit of Age of Empires themed music with a few highlights from the week past. Thank you very much and see you all soon.
The town bell rings where battles roar, a game of minds not built for war. I place my faith in every card, a strategy to catch 'em off guard. From settler dreams to forts of up the ladder with broken boats, building empires from humble roots. Every click it calls my name. Age of Empires ain't just a game. Counter rifles bring their regret. Cavalry rush, but I'm not done yet. My deck is stacked, my timing tight. One wrong move, still